Now, before we get to what could be the better solutions, let's first review what is the current solution being adapted by many owner-operators at the oil, gas, and chemical industry. So basically, everybody has their own category management for project or capital project logistic management, and they do a lot of EFAs, AVLs. And then when it comes to the project level, some owner operators actually hire the subject matter experts under contract. They bring in from external individuals to work on the project logistic management, basically, or namely, to work on the planning. And of course, they would also have to work out the work scope of the future logistics service providers to be hired by the awarded EPCs. Now, on top of that, also, in addition to the work scope, they also have the tasks to write about the operation procedure requirement for the future subcontracted 3PLs or logistics service providers of all kinds, whatever. So that seems to be covering the ground, doesn't it? It sounds really great, except for it doesn't work. Why doesn't? Here is one of the good reasons, which is all the logisticians they brought in, they all came from different places with all the different operational backgrounds, and nevertheless, their operational expertise vary in a very, very wide scope. So without a institutionalized knowledge between all these different individuals brought in, they could hardly have an SOP developed for this kind of things. And we do understand all these individuals, they probably, some of them have very good experiences in certain scope, but barely they have everything needed. So when you're doing planning, what is the most important thing? The first thing come to your mind for such a logistic operation planning? You've got to have enough experience to be able to know where the real risks are hidden somewhere in that procedure. With that experience, not only you could identify the risk, you could assess the risk, and that you can even come up with the viable countermeasures with the requirement or satisfaction for the available resources to the project management. So if you don't have all that experience, apparently your capacity to identify and assess those risks become limited. And then going from there, if all these individuals hired and brought in, they came in and then they left, and the whole thing just went away with them. Nothing is left. Nothing is stay. If nothing is to stay, what do you get? Right? So between projects, they barely share anything. So when you have a planning job done by all the different kind of individuals with all different kind of level and area of expertise, the planning becomes very questionable. And then we come to the work scope. If you have the individual subject matter experts who don't have the whole area of expertise, the work scope that they define may or may not be off. And then the operation procedure, unless they have the very good operational management background in almost all the transportation mode and the storage and staging with all that expertise, how do they write operation procedure to be well respected by the other professionals in the same industry and actually to comply? So this becomes where it could totally set up not for success. So even though the project management spent some money out of their budget and brought in supposedly some good logisticians that they hope better than their in-house logisticians, it may not address the problem effectively, if at all. So this is the common solution as of today we see all over the industry among the owner-operators. And this has to be addressed. Why is that? Because when you look at the fact that the master planning, the schedule has always been, I'm talking about the onshore part, has always been impacted by the delayed delivery of the capital equipment and sometimes materials as well. So when that happened, we're looking at the operational revenue loss basically at number of days delayed. In other words, when we talk about the total cost of project ownership, what is the contribution that could be tackled on the project inbound material logistic management? Is there any tangible results so far at any owner operator? You tell me. With my experience, I haven't seen any. There's a lot of things that can be done if you have the qualified and competent real subject matter experts to perform such jobs. That's being number one. And the number two is you have got to have the institutionalized knowledge and to form the SOP so that the planning task can be done properly. Now, we will get to the better solution, viable or even available out there.